Hello everyone, my name is Ali Ghanim, and today I'm going to talk to you about doping your cabs. There's a few ways of doping the cabs. I'm going to show you three different ways to do it. Now I know some of you used your free hand to cut your cabochons, it's fine with me, it's okay. You probably feel that you have more control with it. But I'm going to show you three different ways to actually dop your cabochon. The main one, or the first one that everybody uses, or the majority uses, is the wax, using wax to hold your cabs in the dock. The other thing we're going to show you is using glue with crazy glue or super glue. The third one I'm going to show you, it will be using double-sided tape. So let's start right now with the wax and we'll go from there. Unit here where I melt my wax, as I showed you before, this is the wax. I will cut them small pieces to melt them quicker, and I will put them in this pot, and there is a bulb inside that will heat up and melt the wax. This one here, actually it has a little pocket here where you could actually melt the wax. I don't use it that much, but I use it just to heat up the cab itself. And by heating the cab, it makes better adherence with the wax. If you have it cold, it might not hold properly, and you will freeze the wax before actually it bounds to the rock. So on this one here, I'm going to take something that these have already been used before, so I take something similar to the shape that I want, a little bit smaller, and I can dip it into the melted wax. Just leave it a little bit to actually melt the old wax, and you have both of them together. Once you have it this way, all I do is I go over the stone and I just stick it on top. Now, the way you want to do it is you got to make sure that your cab is perpendicular to your dock. You need to make sure that there is no wax protruding out of the cab. So what I do is I push it out, make sure it is kind of hot, but I make sure it's below the grinding surface. I don't like to have wax on my grinding wheels. The other thing is, when you look at it from the bottom, you could see I covered most of the cab, and because if you put pressure at the ends, you're probably going to push it down, or you may not be able to work with it properly. I try to center it, level it, so when I work with it, it's balanced everywhere around. And it makes it easy to judge where you're at and what you need to grind, where you have to grind. So this is one way to use the wax glue. Now, the second one is using super glue. With super glue, I use nails, and I use the head of the nail as the top, or where you're going to glue your cab on. In order to use super glue, you got to make sure that the nail, or the head of the nail, the surface, is clean. What I do, and that's on both sides, the nail and also on your cab. So I'm going to use this one here just to show you how it's going to be glued together and how to clean it. I use isopropyl which is like alcohol. Just put it on, and I have a towel somewhere right here. All you have to do is just clean it up nicely. Take all the dirt. You could actually see how much dirt coming off the nail right here. So that will help in bonding the two together. So okay, we did the nail. Now I'll do the same thing with the rock. Just a little bit on the top. Wipe it off. Make sure it's clean. And this way you guarantee that it's not going to come off when you're working. And I'm going to talk to you about why some of the cabs will come off the top while you're working. Now, here's the nail, and this is the cab, and all you need is just a little bit of the super glue. A bit on the cap. It's almost like a drop. Okay, that's good enough. This super glue that I'm using, it's a gel super glue. So it doesn't run fast, but it will stay. Now I'm going to just put it on top of the cab. The thing is with that, you have to hold it for a while in order to get the glue set within here. Here, this one is one. So what I usually do, it's still clean. Okay, I'm going to put it up, and I use this here. I'm going to show you that later on. Anyway, the tight bond. This here is instant bond accelerator. What it does, it accelerates the bonding of the super glue. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a little bit more here because I lost a little bit of super glue, just to make sure. Now the other way is you keep holding it but the problem is when holding it, your hand will move and will shake, so it's not gonna be very effective. So here I'm gonna put it right there, and I use the accelerator. Whoops, there you go, accelerator. Holding it for a while. It shouldn't take long now to set. It's already set here. But yeah, with this one here, you have to wait a little bit until the glue and the accelerator will change the color of the glue. This one is already one that I've done before, and it's already set. So you can work with it like that. Now most people are going to say, okay, how do you take it off once it's set like that? Well, what I do is I use heat. And by using heat is you heat up the nail, and the heat will transfer all along the nail towards the glue. And as soon as it hits the melting temperature of the glue, that thing is going to come off. So your cab will come off. And most people are saying, okay, what if you use sensitive cabs that you need to use the glue, and how can you use heat if they are sensitive to heat? Well, here's the thing. When you heat up the nail, the heat transfer will move towards the cab, and when it gets to the glue, it will heat up that glue first. So when the temperature or the melting point of the glue gets in, before it reaches your cab, that thing will come off. Now I use this one, believe it or not, on opal. And when I do faceting, I use glue. And when I use the glue for faceting, it's the same thing. When I transfer my faceted stone, I heat up the dop, and I basically hold it by hand, and I can take it off, which I don't recommend that you do that. So here I'm going to show you how to do this one. When you heat up the nail, remember, you can't just hold it by hand and go in and heat it up, because you're going to burn, obviously you're going to burn your hand. So what I do is I use a pair of pliers like that, or sometimes I have, like for my dops, I have a piece of wood that will actually fit in the dop, so I can hold the wood itself. But here I don't have a piece of wood that will fit the nail. So what I do is I hold it like this, heat up the nail. When the temperature rises and transfers slowly towards the end, the head of the nail, it will hit the glue first, and then that will come off. So let me show you that. By the way, this one is already glued in, as you could see, and you could start working with it right away. So let me show you what I'm going to do here with the heat. I'm going to make sure there is nothing around that can catch fire. Okay. So I'm going to put the nail there it goes. Now you've noticed I'm still holding the cab, which the temperature didn't even rise at all at that point, but the nail came off. Now the other thing is, you got to watch you don't touch that nail, because it is hot. So you put it somewhere where you're not going to touch it. So okay, here you got your cab is gone after it's finished. All you have to do is just clean up the glue, and it's very easy. You can scrape it off, and that will come off. Okay, so that's with the glue, and now I need to show you how to cab with the double-sided tape. Now, the double-sided tape, you can't just use anything. I'm using a very strong double-sided tape. This is the 3M double-sided. It's a Scotch tape. It's called Extreme Mounting Tape, and you can buy it from any hardware store. They're not cheap. They're kind of expensive for what you need. So if I'm going to use wax or glue, actually will be a lot cheaper than using this. But you could use the 3M for emergency. Let's say the cap came off from the dop, and you want to do it right away, or you want to finish it, use the 3M tape. So here I have the dop, which is, it's a dowel that I'm going to use, and I'm going to use this cap here for demonstration. And the 3M tape, I'm going to cut it to size, or you cut as much as you need. For instance, this one here, this is the diameter of my dop, and it's going to be about maybe ½ an inch. So I'm going to cut about ½ an inch, and this is all I need. So I have one side is already exposed. I will put it on the cab, like so. Make sure it's centered. Peel off the other side, which usually is a pain. So you peel this off, and you just stick your dowel or dop right in the center. Make sure you center it properly. Put it down, put some pressure on it, and here you go. Now, I don't like this too much, because what happened with this is just, it feels like it's moving, but you know, like it's twisting. But other than that, it's a good system to work with. This is the problem I found with this, is on a bigger cab you could see the movement here, so you really can't put too much pressure on it. But for smaller cabs it's very effective, especially if you have it just bigger than the dowel itself. So this is the third way of doing it. Now we talked about double-sided tape. It's good for smaller caps. We use the wax, and you have to make sure that it covers all the base so you don't have this movement and you have the support that you need. And we use the super glue to glue the cabochon, and it's quite strong and it's quite effective, and also it is cheap. So you don't need these units here to heat up your cab or heat up the wax. So here it is, 3 different ways to do your cabs. Now as I said before, some people, they like to use their free hand, which is fine with me if you don't mind having cuts on your hands and your fingers and grinding your nails. So I hope this you enjoyed this video, and if you have a question, just let me know, give me a call, and we go from there. Now remember, probably on the next one, or another video that I will make, is how to glue the opal, and mainly I'm going to talk about the willow opal, because willow opal is a little bit different than the regular opal because it's hydrophonic. What I mean by hydrophonic is if you look under the microscope, the opal has very fine tubes that's going right through the opal, and water goes right through them. So anyway, I will talk about how you can glue them. There's a couple of ways of doing it so you can dop them and machine them, especially with the willow opal. They're kind of small, so if you want to use your free hand, it's kind of difficult to use your free hand. So I'm going to show you how to work with the willow opal and how you set them up on a dope. Till next time, thank you very much.